using a cycle lane around what looked like a rather large obstacle.
Gets his head down, he's in a tight trying position.
This is The Domestics, presented by Black Sheep Sign Man.
Alright, well, welcome back to The Domestics, a absolutely packed episode covering the best of local and global racing. Coming up, some huge headlines coming out of the UAE Tour, almost as big as the ones that came out of the ProVelo in Tassie. Never have I seen a leaderboard flip its lid more in a criterium. Plus, it's the Warny week. How's everyone feeling? And of course, a bit of Peaks chat. And a special guest, a little dessert to the end of this episode. I will be catching up with Maeve Plouffe on what happened at DSM, coming home, Track Worlds, and her herself, a former winner of the Warny. A big thank you to Black Sheep. They have restocked recently some of their most popular styles. Be sure to sign up to their e-newsletter to be the first to know. Like, share, subscribe. But first, gentlemen, how was your weekend? Wait, let me guess. You both did Hellride. Hollywood, you first.
Well, with Maeve coming on and yourself and Marco, and myself, that's 4 Melbourne to Warrnambool wins between us. I just don't have any of them. But there's 4 between us. Yes, I did Hellride, then went on to back way out to Flinders and 2 Bays. We had a great day, just the 4 of us, and Hellride was good on the way down. I'm assuming it was good on the way back, Marco?
Yeah, I was actually creeping. I was on a bit of a shocker. I got back on the running
hard
train.
on the way down.
Yeah, I got back on the running train and I pulled up shit out. Yeah, I hadn't run in a while, and I got on like thinking I was Kipchoge, and yeah, like I was like, yeah, should be right. I'll run at 3.5 minute K pace for a 5K and I'll be fine. You know, break the body back in, and it just broke the body, not back in. So yes, I did Hellride Tills, and then I went to Phillip Island and stayed at a friend's beach house, and then went riding in the Bass Hills in the rain yesterday. So
how nice are the Bass Hills? Isn't it great
yeah,
riding?
it's not too bad. I'd had a few too many refreshments once again Saturday night. I got sucked in again. My arm, I'm like a Stretch Armstrong doll. Like anyone like suggested, I'm like, you know, one more won't hurt. And then suddenly it's 1 a.m. this week, and then got a child up at 5. So you know.
What pace did you reopen your running at, Marco?
I was just on the treadie, on the treadmill, and I started off at 4 minute pace, but then I ramped it up to close to the 3.5 because I was feeling comfy. I was like, I'm feeling pretty fit. And then, I wasn't good tills of, yeah. So anyway, that's
Don't you think it feels out of control at times when you go fast on a treadmill? Apart from Jimmy Whelan when he does it, but
it looks glorious.
beautiful.
It's like watching a bit of artwork when Jimmy runs, isn't it? So smooth.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's nice to watch. It's therapeutic. I'd have it as like a wallpaper. I'm sorry, a screensaver. Just
my weekend. Thanks for asking. Saturday, I was commentating the ProVelo. Little behind the scenes. I was there from before 8 until after 4, and so we pre-recorded some of the women's racing, and then it goes straight into the men's, and whilst that's happening, you overlay the women's race being live on SBS, and obviously we'll get to what happened there, and then quickly bolted off to the St Kilda Twilight Crit around the F1 course. They did a great job. The women's sprints, who run, if you're in Victoria, around Melbourne, they combine with a couple of local criteriums, and they run a women's series, super well supported, really, really good vibes. So they're doing a great job down there, and it was the 4th round of their series. So if you're interested in it, a great way to start to get into racing. And then my last push for sub-8 on Sunday in the Dandies. It's all I can do. She's done. Just, roll into it now.
How'd you go, Tills? How was it?
It was all right. Nah, no humming. Just there was just moments of survival, moments of feeling okay. Really good vibe out there though. Heaps of people up and about, and I missed the rain, so that was good. Pulled up pretty tired from the day before actually. But yeah, we'll see, Marco. We shall see. But should we start globally first? The UAE Tour, which wonderfully captured my attention here and there throughout the week. a stack of headlines coming out of it. It sort of felt like both positive and negative. I'll just do a quick snapshot. I don't think we need to unpack every stage. Obviously, Del Toro lit up the first stage, did a sneaky where Tadej tried to do this once. Del Toro had seen the replay and was able to bag sort of a bit of an uphill sprint. Milan got caught out. It then was into the TT. We thought Remco, here he is again. He's going to just flow through the form we've already seen him on in the early stages, and he took home that TT. It was then a new stage that's been added, so two mountain stages now in the UAE Tour. This Jebel Mubra on stage 3, and one of the bigger headlines, Remco absolutely faltered. Isaac del Toro again looked fantastic, but even better than that was Antonio Tiberi, unfortunately most well known for shooting a cat, where he lost his job at Little Trek and then has now gone to Bahrain. Plappy was showing some form though, so that got us excited, and then essentially it was a Milan show for the rest of the few stages until the well-known Jebel Helfit in on stage 6. That was really going to set the GC, and set it did. Isaac del Toro was patient. He took the win, but it was Plappy who looked fantastic on that stage as well. And obviously with yesterday being a sprint stage, it really didn't change GC, and Plappy was able to finish in 3rd position with Isaac del Toro winning. So Tadej Pogacar doesn't have to come back next year. Antonio Tiberi still a fantastic result for Bahrain. Plappy in 3rd, but some notable names behind him. Felix Gall, Derek G. West, the big signing of the year, and of course Remco Evenepoel in 10th position. Hollywood, do you want to start with you?
Yeah, definitely. I watched the extended highlights on YouTube, and I was so excited for Luke. He looked so good. That's a type of climb for him, that one climb at the end. He just as he got across to the 2 with Del Toro and the other dude, Del Toro attacked right as he just got there, and that was just enough to dislodge him. But look, it was great. I know Luke listens. Luke, I know you're listening. Can you tell me why you rode the TCR? Just message me and tell me why, because he's normally on the Propel. But Marco will probably be best qualified here. Marco will have access to his numbers. Marco, can you tell us about his numbers on that climb?
Soft, just really soft. No,
soft.
No, the TCR he'd be running because their Propel with their current setup, they won't get down to 6.8. So he wants to be bang on 6.8. It's a relatively straightforward run-in where you're sitting in the wheels, so aerodynamics is not coming into it very much when you're in the wheels. And then once you hit the hill, still at the speed they do, I'd still say aero would still be a better option than going light. But he likes it, for when the key moment's going to be at the steep kicks. That's where the TCR comes into its own. Luke, even he agrees as well, sort of cocked it up a bit because he was too excited on Mobra, the first climb where he got excited and followed the early attacks and ended up blowing a bit towards the end. So I'll take claim of then his ride on Jebel Helfit, where we were talking about it beforehand the morning of, and basically said that no one else is going to be looking at you. Like if you get dagged a little bit by just evenly pacing it, then no one's going to be like, oh, pups off the back, let's light it up. So you can afford to just let people attack and stop. And then basically it's what he ended up doing, just sitting in, waiting, knowing he was in form. And then once he's gone, all right, that's actually going this time, then he made the one big effort to bridge. So that was it wasn't necessarily that he was boxed early on. He felt awesome. It was just trying to wait longer until he used his big acceleration. And then once it flattened out a bit at the top, he was coming back quite hot at Del Toro. Like he brought down the gap from sort of 20 odd seconds to I think 12 seconds at the line. So yeah, it was actually really good. The only thing probably holding him back was that he was trying to flick Tiberi before he fully committed. So he was sort of surging, stopping, where perhaps, I guess, if he just rode with Tiberi, he would have got even closer to Del Toro at the line. But yeah, I think it's pretty phenomenal. And this is something that the Mighty Domestics podcast has brought up before, that Plappy took huge confidence from that big ride in the Mountain Time Trial Tour de France last year. And suddenly now he's riding like a man that knows he can actually put out those watts per kilo. So I think Plappy on Jebel Helfit for about 20 minutes was in that 6.6 watts per kilo realm.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty awesome. Pretty well bang on a sort of PB for Luke for that 20-minute period. But now it's about getting over to Europe and actually getting down, or one, doing multiple climbs, and two, positioning when it's a harder, trickier running. Whereas he started this climb in last wheel. So we actually got the KOM on Strava because they had a big tailwind on the climb. So it's the fastest of all time on this hill. But you can't do that in Europe. Your race will be over. So it'll be exciting to see. I think he has a bit of downtime now and then refreshing and coming back to see what Luke can do. But I think when you see him clearly ahead of guys like Ben O'Connor or Michael Storer, it's starting to look more like Luke, if he can put it all together and keep consistent, which has also been a thing for him for 3 weeks. It hasn't been able to do yet. He's using the Vuelta this year to go for an actual crack at GC and see what he can do. And they do have a lot of those hockey stick stages where it's relatively flat and then one big hill at the end. So I'm really keen to see what he can do. I think he has a bigger engine on a one-off effort than pretty much any of our other Aussies at the moment. It's just consistency and actually staying on his bike and being in position when it counts when it comes to European racing. But Luke knows that. He's got to work on it as well. But I think really exciting. Del Toro is awesome. It was really cool to watch.
He is.
The balls on the man on the first mountaintop to just fully go, you know what, I'm riding my speed. I'm not getting sucked into this. And getting
It was
dagged.
mature for a guy of
Yeah.
21 or so, 22, to just be, I think the commentators were very nervous to be saying he's in trouble here, or they were like almost confused because they were saying he's in trouble whilst he was overtaking people.
Yeah.
So it was an extremely measured approach.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I was sure as well. You just don't see guys going deliberately off the back. But knowing how steep it was, and of course he didn't eventually win the stage. Tabiri did get the gap and stay away. So I think Tabiri's performance on there was best part of half an hour, about 6.7 watts per kilo. Like, it was his best performance of all time as well. So you can't take anything away from Tabiri. But once again, the other big claim that we've made, well, at least I've made many, many, many times on this pod, is that Remco's a head cast. Like, as soon as anyone else starts pushing him, his head rolls. And some of his excuses have been just terrible. Yeah.
I want to unpack that a little bit, Marco, because I've been thinking of Remco, and it's sort of like back in the days when I used to do triathlon. I remember the coach at one time, or the likes of Brett Sutton, one of the most famous coaches, used to say there was always this tricky part in triathlon because the distances were so long and so hard that if you weren't having a good day, it would be probably smarter to just pull out. Start again, pull out, DNF, and save yourself for your next race. This coach used to really promote that it gives your mind an outlet, an out. That as soon as you start going, I can just stop this. I can just pull out of this at any time I want. As soon as it starts getting hard, and it's weird for Remco because it's like that's why, particularly with the Warny coming up, why it's so important to push through that. There is no out.
It's so true.
With Remco, his mind is one of his strongest assets. He is a time trialist. There is no more pure effort that you need your mind. But I think he's also potentially so particular that when the slightest thing starts to rattle him, he's done. He's like, there's no way. And also, I didn't watch the TT. The way he spoke about, I assumed the TT was like 40K. It was 12K. It was almost a prologue. So all this conversation that you heard commentators saying, how does he back up from a TT? Mate, he's a professional athlete that only just did 12 kilometers. Yeah. And so it just doesn't, his head rolls, and it rolls badly. And as soon as, if I was his competitors or any other team, I would be laughing, unfortunately, because it would be so easy to manipulate.
One of his funniest comments was that it's because he used too big of a chainring in the time trials. He had muscle damage. And I'm like, it's irrelevant. It's about the cadence that you're riding at. It's not like you rode it at 20 RPM. It's just, and then he said, he got woken up in the night or no air conditioning, and trying to find any reason rather than just being able to come out and say, I just had a bad day and the other guys were better. And I feel like that'd be so liberating for him. But now it's almost like he has this internal dialogue going, what are the people going to think? What am I going to say? And then he comes out with this stuff.
Even just reaching for his quad, He knows the cameras are on him, and he wanted to let everyone know. And look, I really wish Remco well. I would love to see him do well. I think what's quite surprising though is his stats. Like, he hasn't won a 1 week bike race for years. And that someone of his stature, the top 3 potentially, that's such a huge signing. And he's, before Red Bull Bora, his biggest complaint was he was not paid enough compared to Tadej and Jonas. And now we still haven't quite seen the result for that he deserves that as well. And I think that's just put even more pressure on him.
Yeah, I think with Remco, if you could find a photo for me where he's on somebody else's wheel and has a big grimace on suffering, like, I'd pay for that photo, because I feel like any time that anyone else is hurting him, that's when his head rolls. If it's a time trial or he's away solo, he can set his pace. Even the Tour de France where he was third, it was often a big acceleration where Pog's gone, and then he locks in at his speed. But when it comes to someone sort of like pushing, like turning the screws a little bit, he's never the guy to sit on the wheel going, just got to hang on. He's like, bang, gone. Like, there's never like, it's either like full dominance, I'm riding away, or I'm like, my head's rolled and I'm out. It's
what you said before, Matilda, really struck a nerve, because it is so true for me. So many times when I've done a race like the Warny or Tour of Bright or something, and I go back and I look at my numbers when I've cracked and I'm nowhere near my maximum output, nowhere near my maximum heart rate, and it just gets tough, and I go, I can't handle this, I can just get out of it now and just get dropped and just ride my own pace. Whereas something like the Hell Ride, I know if I can just get to that sign or that traffic light, I know it eases up there, or it's different. I can go so deep on something like that, or North Road Long, but in a race, I just crack, because I'm just like, when's this going to end? This is hard, it hurts, I stop.
I reckon if you had... I reckon if the Warny was just laps around Warrnambool, so you came through like every 10K, I reckon 26 times, I reckon the amount of finishes would more than halve, because it's just like you have an out. There's so many times you come back through and you're actually uncooked, whereas when you just like point to point, you just got to suck it up and get it. Like when you're doing 3 peaks, your options are either suck it up and keep riding, or you're sitting in a van behind someone who's decided to suck it up and keep riding. Like, they're your options.
Yes.
So like, you're not like just like jumping out and getting in your car and going, bugger it.
No,
so like those things sort of force you. Whereas if you if it was just reps of Falls Creek, people would throw the towel in a lot earlier.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The other one that was of note for us as well is obviously how Sam Welsford went. How was he going to handle the sprints? And it was interesting. They just couldn't. He pulled up a lot when he saw he couldn't win. Sort of just stopped his effort then and there. But surprisingly, to be having such a strong lead out previously and really being dialed, they just couldn't quite get themselves to the front, Ineos. And it's okay. It's very different. We're in February, remembering everyone. I know we're in February for the year. But I think that was a bit of a standout for me as well. And obviously as an Australian, we're more critical of how the Aussies are going.
I think it's a chaotic sprint finish there anyway. Milan was a dominant force. He was amazing. Milan was so good. But I also think that with the speeds on those finales, it's easy for teams to get swamped. I actually hope that when they get back to Europe, there'll be days where Ineos actually take control on a technical finish and then Sam has a clean run at it. Because I really didn't think, other than the last day, he had a pretty good sprint there. But even with that, he had to hit out too early on the wrong side of the road and then jump back across to Milan. So I think Welsford did show like his speed is there or thereabouts. So I'll be interested to see when he gets over to Europe how he goes there. Maybe this is the year he finally wins Skelderpras.
Yeah, I think also, it's just so wide, the roads there as well. It can actually make it, so much worse for the sprinters, you say, Marco. Well, that was UAE. I think great signs for Del Toro. The only downside is that he's on UAE. I'd love to see him anywhere but UAE.
And the Tour team as well, Tills. That's the other downside. That he's going to work for Poggy at the Tour. Like, he'll probably end up on the podium with Poggy, but I think it would have been great to see him go and actually get that Giro title after the cock up at the end of last year's. Yeah.
Just quickly, let's touch on Algarve. I didn't watch all of these stages, but certainly watched the final one that had also some huge names. If you weren't in the UAE, then sort of that second tier rider outside of Poggy, they were across Hollywood. Did you catch any of this racing?
No. I was focused on Luke and UAE. I only just watched the highlights on Insta every morning on TNT. That was it.
I'd say the points to really take out of it, without going into too much detail, is that the Ayuso signing for Trek is a massive win. He looks to be really confident riding well. Paul Sexas for Decathlon and Matthew Riccatello looked fantastic, really, really good. And like, you got to remember, Sexas is only 19, so the fact that he's running second overall there and putting away João Almeida as well, after Almeida won a few 1 week races last year. And the other one...
Can I also just pull you up there as well, Marco?
Yeah,
you
please.
used the correct pronunciation of Paul Sexas's name.
Yeah,
I'm hearing it in there's very different pronunciations getting about. Satius is one that I hear a lot. It's like, you want to say success.
Yeah.
That's his name, Paul Success.
Yeah.
So good job.
Yeah.
I was meant to bring it up, and I had to go to his pro cycling stats to listen to it. So that's from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, that's it. And then the other one I think was exciting as well as for Ineos. Oscar Onley or Kevin Vaculan looked pretty good, but especially in the last day up Alta Malhau, he looked awesome. He looked really good. I think he just got done in the throw to line, but
wasn't that so surprising though, that like he was just creeping, doing his own thing, like Hollywood, you would have beaten him at Tour Bright.
Yeah.
And then he just has gone nuclear, and I thought he would have been so much quieter coming into this season, and he was unreal last night.
He looked fantastic, so comfy. And I saw the other thing is like that, because they're all at this level now, you're like, like they're going semi-hard. And then you see the stats, I think they did like 7.3 watts per kilo for that 7 minutes or something like that. And they look comfy, looking around. Like, it's pretty cool. And then, so he just got rolled in the line by Ayuso. But I think that's exciting for Ineos, that he has come in. He looks to be going well. And given, as you said, how he was going at Tour of Bright, hasn't raced since, like, Bright doesn't count. I know it was training for him, but he's obviously escalated his form a lot since then. And then going on from now, I assume he still has a fair bit till his ceiling. So I think Ineos will be pretty amped about that performance. He looked really, really good, but without the comparison of Jonas or Pog there, like, I believe that Ayuso and Sexas, Almeida, they're all riding a really high level, but it's whether there's another tier still waiting to come in, and you don't know until they're all in the same cage having the same fight, I suppose.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, let's jump into some local racing. The second round, due to the Warny moving, the ProVelo Super League went down to Tassie. We had the first two stages that weren't broadcast, but we had the normal prologue that goes up the steep climb of about 600 meters. Apparently you have to be a former or current mountain biker to win that stage. It was taken out by Ruby Taylor. We'll stay with the women's for a bit. Ruby Taylor took that out, who is a mountain biker, super young, from Team Red Cat. Stage 2, Guns Plains, a very hilly sort of stage in the women's. Sophia Salmon, she was able to break away and win that stage also from Team Red Cat, with Caitlin Nicholson and Keely Bennett from the same team in Butterfields coming in. We then went to stage 3, where we were commentating. It was the Queen stage. Going up to Poatina, which was on SBS. And just before the second sprint preem, there was a crash in the women's race. There was a bit of attacking going on. It had been slow, and suddenly there was a touch of wheels, and they were just so close together, that group. It was like someone threw a grenade at the front of that group, and the entire thing exploded. Like, they were tangled in bodies and bikes. And there's 2 medical cars there, and the ambulance had to come. Sophia Salmons, the leader, was caught up in that crash, and she got on her bike and rode to where the race had stopped, had been neutralised a few hundred metres up the road. But because she did that, the ambulance was actually behind the crash, so it took a long time for it to then come up to her, who had visibly hit her head, damage to her helmet, blood on various parts of her head and chin, and we know that head bleeds easily. And the race was neutralised. They did not get to go up Paulatina. Surprisingly to many, Sophia Salmon started the next day in the criterium. We just thought this would be a procession with the likes of Keely Bennett being such a strong rider, a couple of the Nostromo girls as well, potentially taking the crit. But it again was Ruby Taylor that took the crit. Sophia Salmons, with her starting, she was able to take over the GC, but a huge win for Ruby Taylor. She's under 23, and Team Redcat, the former Praties team, former Bridge Lane team, ACJ Wonderclass, he orchestrated the team to win every stage across the weekend. It was Sophia Salmons, Ruby Taylor, and Keely Bennett on the women's side, Marco.
Yeah, pretty impressive. I think Ruby Taylor was really exciting. I ride with her dad on the Belgian that occasion, and he'd been sort of talked about her for a few years as she came through, and then I only first saw her racing at the Road Nationals, where she did a brilliant ride there, basically straight out of juniors and into it. So really exciting things to come. And that Launceston Hill thing is horrible for the prologue, but I think Cameron Ivory's now won 17 times there.
Yeah, exactly. Ruby Taylor's mum, former rider, fantastic ambassador for the sport. Let's, as you say, Marco, jump into the men's. Ivory
just before you
won
do, do you think it should have been cancelled that stage or neutralised?
There was no other option. There was so many bodies that 3 people had to be taken to hospital, and so we had 2 medic cars go out. The ambulance had gone, and so it should have gone on, but they couldn't because there weren't enough medics.
Fair enough.
So the races cannot continue. I know you know this, Hollywood, but they cannot continue if there is not medical support following the race, and they couldn't. They had already taken too many people. Yeah, so disappointing because that was the Queen's stage, but in the end it pretty much worked out. But on the men's side, as I said, Cameron Ivory, he won his 17th stage 1 of the Tour of Tasmania. Stage 2 again, Gun Plains, Ollie Bledden from Team Brennan. He took the win after some huge rides by Team Brennan, really lighting it up across the Guns Plains there. And stage 3, this was the one that we commentated on. The Queen's stage, again, it's a 10K climb up to Paulatina. This was an unreal stage. Like previously, we've seen Jack Ward last year. He did this stage solo. This year, we had about 10 riders trying to take the win here, and really exciting. The group had with Will Heffernan, they had the breakaway. They got over 2 minutes at one stage just before the climb, but such a tough climb, and we hit the climb and they were just whacking one another. Marco, you had a few riders that you coach in there. How was it for them?
Yeah, good. But you just skipped over the fact that on stage 2, I held on to my 10-year Strava KOM up Guns Plains for another year. Every year watching Tassie, I'm like, am I going to lose it?
Make a note to always skip over that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Just I keep watching every year, waiting for my com to drop. But another year, still wearing my crown till. So all's still balanced in the world, I must say. But Paulatina, it was a ripper race up there. Actually, it was pretty much the Brennan team took it up for Ollie Bledden, and Levi Ohm did a great job at just setting a tempo that was too hard for anyone to get any decent gap, and there was a lot of guys having to go. Julian Baudry, who I look after, he had excellent legs, and he hit some up there with his best ever 20-minute power because he kept attacking, trying to get away, pushing it, and then just couldn't open up that gap. They kept welding it back, so it was really exciting, but I was shocked to see such a big group coming to the line still. They did one of the fastest ever ascents of Paulatina as well, so it's not like it was a softer edition. I think it's more...
Which is pretty amazing, Marco, because there was a lot of on-off.
Yeah, I think it's a reflection of the just general level worldwide increasing, but it wasn't like you've got these old fossils there that have been racing forever, getting stronger and stronger. You've got... Well, Junior went on pretty much to win it. So I think it's really exciting with how the world of cycling is developing, and in Australia as well. We have some excellent climbers, but just so few opportunities to actually show that level. So, they were only, I think Ben Dybel still has a KOM there, but they were then like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th fastest times ever up there. And it was very on-off as well, but end up coming down to a reduced bunch, or not bunch sprint, but 8 guys coming into the finish there to sprint it out. And I think we all got the opportunity to see one of the potential best up-and-coming riders that Australia has. Connor Wright, he took out the win ahead of Ollie Bledden in the sprint. Ollie himself, I think, has shown at the start of this year that he deserves to be over in Europe racing with a top-tier team, with a medal there at the National Time Trial Championships. But then, Connor Wright, as a 18-year-old, coming up and stamping his authority and getting the win there. He's the first mountain biker we've had internationally getting results in a long time, outside of Dan McConnell and, Dan hasn't in quite a long time, and then Beck Henderson as well. But it's been a long time since we've had someone this exciting coming through on the mountain bike side. And then last year won a really big one-day race in the juniors in Italy as well, Liberazione. So I'm pretty excited to see where Connor's path goes from here. He's obviously quite explosive, but can get up a hill very well.
Yeah, as you say, he's still so young. He looked absolutely stunning when he launched that sprint to take Ollie Bledden. Ollie Bledden himself, a gold medalist on the team pursuit at Paris. I think a huge piece in his puzzle as well, just to show that he can climb like that as a track rider. And as you say, Mark, I agree that he should be overseas, which Connor Wright actually is leaving, so he goes to Europe. I don't think he'll be at the Warny. Hollywood, did you capture any of the coverage?
No, just highlights on Instagram.
Thanks for
for
the support.
ProVelo.
Just Till's dulcet tones. You could listen to Till's.
All right, just quickly on the crit. Now this just flipped the lid. This was just ridiculous. I had to rewatch and try to find highlights to find out what the hell went on, because the entire GC changed, and as did the a surprising stage result as well. So they had a criterium around Tassie. It was raining. It looked absolutely grim. No one wanted to be there. But essentially a group got away in the crit, and they got over 40 seconds on the main bunch, and Brennan were a little bit caught out with this as well, while still having some Brennan riders in this group. They were mostly, of course, riding for Ollie Bledden, but he wasn't in this lead group, and so it came down to reduced sprint. Pat Eddy absolutely hit out, apparently, with Levi Hone also there in the wheel, but it was Ruben Page Brown who's riding for the VIS team that Kell O'Brien has put money towards to mentor. Ruben Page Brown, under 23, won the crit. But not only that, the GC completely moved, and Levi Hone, who was in that breakaway, ended up winning the GC.
Yeah, well, it worked out well with them actually still going 1-2. It almost reminded me of about 10 years ago with Lionel Mordet stealing the GC off James Whelan in the final crit when they were both riding under the inform thing. But I think this one was a bit more amicable, where no one else was jumping Ollie Bledden in the break. I dare say Ollie didn't want to take risks as well. He may well have some track World Cup commitments coming up as well. And because it was pissing rain, it was quite sketchy, people crashing. I think it became more of a safety measure as well, probably for Ollie, and having a teammate step up. And I guess with Levi trying to push for the overall series as well in the ProVelo series, I'm not sure how many of the events Ollie will still be able to race moving forward. So, great move by Team Brennan. Exciting for Levi. Disappointing for Ollie, but I think with his stage win and then the confirmation on Poatina as well, I think this is just showing the form that he's had all year long as well. And now we should have a few eyes on him from the international World Tour scene as well, I dare say.
We can roll straight off that before we do, Hollywood. Anything else to add on the...
No, I just want to get your and Marco's tips for this weekend's Power Core Melbourne to Warrnambool and the Lockhart Women's Melbourne and Warrnambool? Can we have a tip of each?
Let's roll straight in, because I tell you who was a little bit quiet this weekend, who I think was said he'd work for others, and I'm sure that they'll be turning around and working for him. Pat Eddy, the Australian champion, made his ProVelo debut over the weekend. I think he will certainly be putting his hand up as one of the main riders to wanting to win the Warny. Of course, you remember, Hollywood, that one of his main questions, Pat Eddy, when we interviewed him was, has there ever been an Australian champion, current Australian champion, who has won the Warny? So it's been in the back of his mind for a while.
Yeah, I think big gear, high cadence, Lee.
Big gear, okay. Well, my tip for the men's is, I reckon, James Forbes. He finished 9th last year in a horrible day on his own, and he's good. Or Oscar Gallagher. They're my two tips. I reckon those two guys will. That's who my tips
We should
are.
actually, on that, Hollywood, the Oscar Gallagher on the guns playing stage, getting through and winning the bunch sprint behind Ollie Bledon. And on top of his national step up as well, where he rode really well despite getting DQ'd in the road race at Nationals. Huge step up, massive. His resilience has gone up a heap and he's rather fast. So coming to a reduced sprint, definitely a chance. Forbesy was moving on the weekend, so I actually think James Forbes can also do incredibly well, but also you're up against it with some very strong teams out there. So I think it's same as if you're talking about Three Peaks, a lot of it's about fueling, eating, drinking all day, because the race doesn't kick off until you get in the last 60k. That's your reality of it. Until that point, you can only lose the race. You're not going to win it. So you're looking at every intersection. You should have a map on your Wahoo or Garmin, looking at when an intersection's coming and looking at what the wind's doing. If you're turning into a crosswind, you need to be at the front. If you're not, even if no one drops a hammer, you're still expending energy. You don't need to. You should know where each of the larger hills are, and then trying to move forward as you head into those hills, because then you can afford to sandbag a little bit if the best guys go for it. Every hill you get over, that's deeper you get in with the main group. And then you look into the last 60k is where, if you're someone that's looking for a result, you should be start looking for the real breaks can move from that point onwards. Before that, as I said, it's about saving your energy and trying to eat, drink, because then it can get quite hectic and full on from that point onwards.
Do you usually take food at the first feed zone? Because it's only at 50 Ks, isn't it?
No, I carry all the food I need largely. And then just drink, top up throughout. I tend to try to go semi-savoury for the first 100, 150k, so that then when you move on to sweets, it's exciting. Whereas, most years you finish and all you want to get some hot chips from Macca's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be feeding from the first one, but you know that, Hollywood. But,
no, I do know that.
We're just more telling everyone else that around, because it's just still also too many people in the bunch, so it's one of the most dangerous feed zones on the course as well. So you want to try to move right and remove that. But isn't it something around, Marco, if you survive the first 50k, you'll survive the next 50k pretty comfortably. Like, it's the highway, getting through that first feed zone, and then the next sort of part to the race is where the QOM and KOM hills come into it.
Yeah, the first climb not long after you get off the highway, that's always, you have a good amount of the fluff go out the back there. If you get over that, then you're right again for probably until Timboon, really. And then it's about, unless there's huge winds up, which I don't know of. I had a quick look before. It doesn't look like there's anything too crazy at this point in time. So we'll see. But yeah, largely until that point, Hollywood, you know this anyway, but you're just trying to save your energy. And you need to be a bit ruthless. So when you head into that climb, around Timboon, so it's about 100k to go. It's always going to be hard up there. You need a decent position so you can afford to sandbag back a little bit, so lose a few positions and still be on the group over the top. Because if you do get over that, then you then teleport another 40, 50k into the race, because there's nothing too big after that point. So there's a few of those crunch points where you need to be willing to well and truly overextend and bury yourself, knowing that you're then actually relatively comfortable in the wheels for quite a while after.
And not giving up after those, when you get dropped on the climbs, which you will get dropped, if you're looking at the class of riders who are there in the ProVelo, but this is more for everyone else, like getting yourself into a working group as fast as possible, because like I've come back into that main group with guys before. We didn't catch the very front 10 guys, but we caught the main bunch after that. And so, yeah, just trying to get that group motivated and not give up and keep going, really. Yeah. And working that downhill as hard as possible. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I loved it downhill. I don't know. I've never put maps into my Garmin. Is there a file and you just put it in it, do you? Is that how it works? I've never
you
done
can.
it.
And it'll show you where corners are coming up. And then just so that way you actually go right in roughly a K, we're going to turn right. We're currently into a blockhead wind. Means you're going to have a massive crosswind. Even if it's only for 300, 400, 500 meters, every time you do that, you're burning energy. And it just keeps accumulating. And then all of a sudden, it's very rarely in a race like the Warny that the bunch suddenly does a watts per kilo effort that you've never done in your life. It's more that your legs are fatigued and you can no longer do something you'd normally be able to. So that's what usually gets you.
One Warrnambool, I was sitting in there, and my old teammate Adam McGillivray, we're just almost laughing, going, this is easier than around the bay. And I never forget, Pat Shaw came up next to me and goes, get ready. And then we turned left and it just blew to pieces. It was like, and yeah, I wasn't ready. I was too busy thinking this is easy, and it was gone in 60 seconds, like the movie.
And then just on the women's side, also it really like this is based off how it's played the last few times, is that nothing is stuck before the climbs. So the first 100k, it's really until you start coming past Timboon and you change direction that it really starts kicking off. Last year, which was great, they had a tailwind. I could have flipped my lid about how they raced it last year. They essentially let just Caitlin Nickerson go up the road and just were trying to protect the GC of the ProVelo Super League, which, was pretty disappointing at the time, but still a great race by Caitlin Nickerson, and she will go in as, a favourite for this as well, as will Keely Bennett, Sophia Salmons. The climbs, the way they have been done in the past, haven't been strong enough to really split the group. They need to be a lot stronger and a lot stronger crosswinds, but where the breaks have gone is once you start getting along the Great Ocean Road. So where there is a bit more of a crosswind, that's where the breaks that have won have stuck. It doesn't seem like a huge amount of wind at this point. But I think what you want to be doing, though, if you've got a strong team there, is trying to really, because this is well and truly double the distance that majority of the women race. We don't get anything like this type of distance, not even at nationals. Nationals is 100k. This is 160. So trying to really loosen up the legs of everyone as much as possible. That's where you can start doing the damage and then do the actual damage after the climbs, and in that sort of last feed zone is actually where you want to be lighting it up.
It's looking like it's easterlies on Saturday, easterly and southeasterly. What does that mean? That's crosswind, isn't it?
Means good KOM for the wall. Let me plug this into a map for you, Hollywood, and that way I can look at the path. But yes, I think looking at easterlies, you're going to be getting some quality tailwind at points. Tail cross.
Oh shit, that's hard. That's actually hard. Tail cross. Matilda, you'll have to teach me this week offline how to upload a map into my Garmin. I've never done
no
it.
Problems. You can't. Your eyesight won't actually be able to see it.
Just fucking make it large.
on the
I don't know whether
computer.
if I'll wear the meta glasses. I haven't decided whether I'll wear my normal Oakleys
Just so
or
you know, I don't
do some
think you
footage.
should. Unless
reckon?
the way that those Meta glasses are somehow motivating you at the moment, maybe you should. I've seen you do your best numbers.
Yeah, I
and
got
best
me third best
performances
Oliver's time on Saturday
somehow.
with the Meta glasses.
That's 'cause- exactly. But I feel like I would love you to have the attitude that you're being filmed or you're filming yourself without actually doing it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just pretend you're doing an Insta video, Hollywood, and just like up Wrangling Parade going bang, bang.
Then everyone's going to see these numbers.
All I have to do is finish, get the medallion, I can give it to Ali, and that's it. Never again.
Anything else on the Warny? Big episode next week. We'll unpack it all.
Plus coming into peaks. It'll be
Yeah.
big too.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
All he says, I'm upset. I'm still missing it. Tills, I don't want to talk about it.
Mate. I would be too, mate.
It's all right.
Honestly.
We're going to go take the KOM on Hell Ride on Saturday just to spite you.
Not too much peaks chat. There only
Any entries?
that,
I heard there's only like 42 entries left or something ridiculous.
No, yeah, 44 tickets left. And also
Wow.
that we are splitting the 8 and 9 hour start as well. So the sub 8 will go off first, and then sub 9 will go off a few minutes later. Doesn't really change any of the other ways, but also just to take the descent, just be chill on the descent. That is a key message that we need to get through. Just really, really relax on those descents. So there's a lot of people who are stressing about the descent. I met a couple of riders on the weekend. So just if everyone relaxes and looks after themselves and looks out for everyone else, it'll be fine.
It's so much fun, Tills. It's so fun. It's just like go at your own pace, but it's such an amazing opportunity to descend an alpine climb with the closed road. So just like go at your pace.
It is closed, but at
awesome.
one point there is a one lane. There's a bit of roadworks on the descent falls. So just gotta take it easy. So we'll talk about peaks next week. Just don't do anything stupid. In the meantime, all the work's been banked. Nothing else you can do. But yeah,
Except
I hate
for the 277k race.
Good luck, son.
Yes,
We'll
no
chat
worries,
to
mate.
you. All the domestiques are behind you. I'm sure there's a few out there that'll help you along. And
Yes.
we will look forward to unpacking it with you next week. I'm going to go catch up with Maeve Plouffe, so stay right there. We will be back shortly. Well, a very special guest. It is the Warny week as well. And actually, we've just gone over everything that's been going on. It's also a track World Cup is coming up, and I've got no idea about the track. I don't know what's going on, all the events, what's coming up. So who better to get than she is a gold medalist in the Com Games, which is also coming this year. Surprise. She has the record on the track. She's was a rider for Picnic post NL, but as I mentioned, more importantly, she's a former winner of the Warny. It is, of course, Maeve Plouffe. I've got her at the track side. Maeve, you've just gotten off the track, gotten off your bike, jumped onto the Domestiques podcast. Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm so glad that you brought up the Warny because I totally forgot that it's Warny week. And I remember absolutely like that Warny win. I just remember being in the break with you for however many hours we were in the break for. Like that was crazy that year. We were chopping off so hard. And I remember the number of cramp fixes that were needed to be taken. We actually had like a really elite breakaway that year, didn't we?
Mate, the thing is, just if I can wind back for everyone for a moment. So this was the first version of the women's only Warny, and my God, that set the standard. And I got to say, it hasn't quite been met since. We had the top 6 riders. The only rider that missed out on that break that went on to World Tour was Amber Pate. Just so it's known, one of my saddest moments is that every single person in that break, 6 people went on to World Tour except myself. so we had this
very good company. And the thing is, you were probably
group.
chopping off the hardest too.
Like,
you were like,
oh man,
you took that race by the
so
balls.
it ended up being Georgie Howe was there, yourself, Nicole Frayne, and Anya Lau.
Because
Anya, she's a teammate as
was
well.
working for me. Yeah. I was the only one with a teammate.
You're absolute
And
sandbagger.
That's really like I owe that win to her really because she was chopping off so hard for me all day. Josie was in the
Joyce
break,
Talbot. So it was you, Joyce Talbot, and myself. Nicole Frayne led you out. But that just brings us back to like such a moment then as well, Maeve, because honestly, then, mate, like, you were unbeatable. Didn't matter if you had annual hour or not. Like, I just remember you having the best 1 minute power in the country. It was just always like, we cannot take Maeve to the line. I remember you won a stage at the Tour Down Under as well, sort of in that
Yeah.
COVID year, I think, from memory. And that's because every time, if you were there, you just couldn't be beaten. And of course, that gave you that opportunity to then go on to DSM, a world tour team, when you were still very young, hadn't had huge experience in Europe, and you ended up spending a bit over 2 years in Europe with DSM.
Yeah, yeah, it was so true. I think I had that year on the road was super unexpected. That's kind of summer. It wasn't even a year. It was truly just that like summer of cycling. I just come from Olympics on the track, was like, far out, what do I train for now? And so I just also moved to the Gold Coast. Like I'd spent a bit of time on the Gold Coast and I was just doing these like crazy, I didn't even have structured training, to be really honest. Like did like a bit of structure, but not really. And I was just going out and doing long Ks, riding hard, really focused. I wanted to win the TT at Roadnats that year. And then I got COVID the week of Roadnats. So I think like I just carried
really?
form like out of the yeah, because I think maybe I still raced Roadnats, but like I didn't like I'd gotten out of, I remember getting out of quarantine like a day before the race or something. But yeah, that was like such a crazy time because then yeah, I'd never really raced road before. It was my first time like, oh, maybe I'll just try this. And I think like the thing about Australian racing is if you have watts, then you can kind of get around, no issue. And he then went to Europe that year and did a few of the Belgian races, but still like not quite. So then when I did have like the first road season, I think like my third race that I ever did was Roubaix. I was just like straight in the deep end. My fourth race was
Just
the
thrown
Vuelta.
in. Absolutely thrown
Straight
in.
in. Yeah. Yep. Just there was no like Camises or like 1.1s. There was no like 1.1s, 1 pros, 1.2s, anything. It was just like boom, straight up. That's
Yeah.
definitely a learning curve, but I've kind of done it in reverse now. Like last year I went back and did all those 1.1s that I realize now that these girls have been doing since they were kids. And just getting to do those last year, I was like, wow, like there's a progression and you need to respect the steps and follow the steps. So it was nice to actually do those last year, even though I felt a bit like, oh my gosh, I wish I did these in 2023, like far out, but that's okay.
Yeah. I think also though, Maeve, much of what exists now, it wasn't back there when we were in Belgium and the Netherlands. Like I would have like the race, like you only got to do Camises, or these 1.1s are Camises. The majority of them are pretty much a criterium, which is over 100 kilometers long, and it goes down a pathway, and there's 180 bitches all vying for the same corner. And I think what's so much better now, which is available, is these incredible races in Spain, in France, in Italy, where previously there was no other option. But if you wanted to cut your teeth, you could only cut your teeth doing there. And I think that's why we also lost so many potential amazing female GC riders, because they had to, and who were really young, because they had to do that Belgium stint. Like even Ruby Rosamund Gannon, like at one point she almost pulled the pin because, you know, that was her first experience, and I think it was just an absolute crash fest. But she was obviously good enough to show locally that she can be signed and go elsewhere. But yeah, I think just even the progression and what's happened at that, you know, there's so much more now for those development teams to be doing, rather than we used to just call it bashing around Belgium.
Yeah, you would literally just go to Belgium and just
bash around. But how, like, you know, I was devastated for you that DSM didn't work out. It wasn't the right environment for you. You know, you were a bit of a square and they were a hole, and they kept trying to force you into, you know, to you do it their way. How is it having been back home for a longer stint now?
It's actually been just incredible to do training that works for me with people that believe in me. And like coming back to the Australian track team, especially, I was just like, oh wow, okay, like just doing hard training. I think that's what I was missing when I was professional. The training was
Mm.
not kind of suiting me. I didn't realize that everyone was doing secret training and doing extra things and not following. Like I was just like, okay, it's a World Tour team that knows better. I'm just gonna follow everything. So I think, yeah, coming back and just regaining my fitness, I'm finally starting to feel like myself again, which is absolutely incredible. I'm finally starting to see the numbers that I kind of had in 2022, early 2023, which I'm so grateful
Mm.
for because I just haven't seen those numbers in a while. Um, and so that's really exciting.
Mm.
I still love the road, and as you can see, last year I still spent a lot of the year in Europe, trying the road and still doing these races. But I just started to do races that actually suit me with a smaller team, with less expectations. And that's been actually really lovely. And I'm going to join again over on the road this year and just do races that suit me and kind of just go with good form, I hope. So I'm really looking forward to that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just been nice to get back to the roots of like what I love about cycling because I love cycling. Like I would do this paid, unpaid, professional, unprofessional, any like I would just ride no matter what. So I think to just
Mm.
do it on the track and be appreciated and like we also just have such a good group of women on the track at the moment, athletes but also staff. Like we have Ashen
Mm.
Kudinov coaching the women's track team. She was my former teammate in Tokyo and
Yeah.
she just believes in it and she believes in me. She's seen me at my best. She knows like where we can get to. And then we've got like Sean Barris, who's the uh bio like biomechanics, and then we've got like Georgie Barrett who's doing
Mm.
physiology, and
Mm.
we've just got this like team, and it's just like a different feeling. Like you at the track and you're surrounded by this team of women. We're all like sciencing, coaching, training, and it's just like everyone's
Yeah.
really invested at the moment.
What a
It's a
vibe.
really different feeling that I've ever felt before. So I think seeing that has made me really like, okay, LA 28 on the track is still like for a second there I thought track might be dead, but I was like, no, I just wasn't appreciating it enough, and now I feel like it's yeah, like there's a big group coming back.
So, mate, talk to me about the track because I'm naive to it. I saw you also over in Oshis. You were over there in Cambridge, taking on the Kiwis, and surely the good vibe that is on the track, off the track, is leading to positive results. And then also, what's the go with this? There's a World Cup coming up, I hear, which has taken out a few riders from the ProVelo League. Yeah, what's on the horizon at the moment, and how are we looking?
Yeah, it's super exciting. So Perth actually has a World Cup, which I've never even ridden the Perth Velodrome in my life. I'm like, whoa, okay. So we have a home World Cup in Australia. It's a great opportunity for us to just get a time on the board for that team pursuit heading into the Commonwealth Games. And also a really good opportunity just to do a little bit of
Yeah.
bunch racing. So bunch racing is where you are in,
Mm.
as it sounds like, in the bike with the normal handlebars and a bunch of a big group of people. Um, in the last few years, I haven't done that. Like, so from Tokyo, you would have just seen me in the team pursuit. Same as Paris, I really just focus on the team
Mm.
pursuit. But last year, I was like, I want to try this. This is like a new discipline for me again. It's like, I guess a bit more like road racing, a little bit more smarts. I just always did the pursuiting my whole life, but I was like, you know what? I've been doing a lot of road. I'm going to try this bunch racing thing. And I've been really enjoying that. So last year I went around the world and chased points all around the world. Got myself, I think I'm in like the top 10 in the UCI standings at the moment for bunch racing, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, the World Cups is also a nice opportunity to practice that, because it's very much like the road where you go to these races, there's C1s, C2s, they're kind of like 1.1s, 1.2s, 1 pros, and you can kind of do those as well. So
Mm. And so how we go, what is two things? What's the prediction for Australia and how important it is for qualification? And then yourself as well, are they using the World Cup to select the Commonwealth Games team?
Yeah, so both of those things, absolutely. It's not, I think the times and how we perform at Com Games as a team, it's more internally for us to build and gain confidence. I think at this point, there's only one other team like registered for the team pursuit, so I think we're looking pretty good for it, I guess. But obviously, all the top riders will be coming for the bunch racing, so that will be a really high standard. But I think internally within the team, we have such a depth of riders all trying to make the Commonwealth Games, so it'll be a bit of an internal selection as well, and also just an opportunity for us to ride at these like faster paces, and just get more experience at that level. And so far, it's going really well. Like we were on the track today doing really good quality efforts, good skills, fast paces. The quality is insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it always surprises people just how hard track riders train. Like your programs that I remember hearing, you know, the likes of Nettie or Alex, Georgia Baker, like what you guys are doing. Take us through just what would be one of your bigger days on the track?
So
Because don't you double train as well and gym amongst all that?
Yeah, so I can give just an example of today. For example, I rode
Okay, well, it's
45.
Monday, which should be
Yeah.
a recovery day, but go on.
Yeah. So rode in this morning, 45 minutes, then got on the track. We do about 20 minutes warm up, like building to a reasonably fast pace. Then we had two pretty hard broken efforts. So for power wise, like you're kind of doing 4 or 5 minutes at 400 watts or so, but like really spiking, maybe under overs, but also high speeds, right? So the skill execution is really important. Like you're debriefing, you're sitting down, you're watching the video, you're talking about it, you're waiting around, then you're going back up again. Also out of the gate, like when you go out of the gate, you're doing 900 to 1,000 watts out the gate. If you're more efficient, maybe 800. This morning I saw a few more watts. I was a bit desperate. But you know, it's quite technical. Then we had an hour and a half of lunch break. Usually there's quite a lot of like physio, massage, doctors, things that go on because it is quite hard on the body. And then when we came back, we had to do a turbo session. So we put the track bike on the turbo and did intervals. So 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 15 seconds on off. Did about 45 minutes of that. And then Ash drove the motorbike and we changed bikes. We went onto the bunch bike and the girls did Madison's for 60 laps, so like 20 minutes, sprinting every 10 laps. So every few minutes they'd sprint. And I didn't, they were doing the thing where you throw each other in the Madison, but I was just doing like on the bunch bike. So I was just sprinting against them by myself. And we did 2 blocks of that and then I'll ride home. So that's kind of the day, and that'll easily take you to 6 p.m.
How are you even talking? Isn't lactate falling out of your nose right now?
Yeah, I was super.
It's a Monday. That is so exhausting.
It's definitely big, and we definitely do a lot more gym. It's kind of one of the reasons I didn't do the ProVelo this year as well. Is like I just wanted to be in the gym constantly lifting big weights.
Ask about that.
Yeah, I've been in the gym so much, just gaining weight and like, which is not always compatible with the road, but God, it makes you feel strong. It's kind of nice.
Hey, Maeve, this will mean something to some people, but what do you squat? Is that what trackies do? Is it mostly the squat that
Yeah,
you do,
my
or
squat's
deadlift?
actually
What do you squat?
my squat's actually not incredible because I'm usually kind of limited by my lower back. Probably we've been getting up to like 85 kilos or so, but I think my best lift isn't even a lift. My best is my planking. I do at least 5 minutes a day, and sometimes we're getting up 7, 8 minutes at this point. So that's kind of like my favorite. Like we lock in for the planks.
You actually inspired me with your plank. I remember messaging about it, and I do 2 minutes now. I think
Nice.
that's my threshold. That's my ceiling. But that's about as far as I can go. But still, 80 over 80 squat, well and truly well above your weight. So yeah, you're like a bullet.
Oh,
It's very impressive.
my weight's getting pretty high at the moment. We're getting close. We're putting on a lot of quads.
Strong.
Yeah.
Hey, I won't keep you too much longer, Maeve, but I wanted to also touch base. You ran an incredible ride down at Tour Down Under with the front runners,
Yeah.
a group focused on sustainability. Quickly touch base with me on that.
It was absolutely incredible. I think we just wanted, well, front runners, I reached out to them when I saw what they were doing with athletes. For some background, they're a group that work around kind of talking about the dialogue between climate change and sports and helping athletes and empowering athletes to make changes within their sports without necessarily like needing to expose themselves or just to do so in like light touch ways. And I think that's something that is really important, especially in cycling and a lot of our sports. We always do spend a lot of time outdoors, and we can't deny that it actually deeply affects our sport. Already cricket and AFL have had a lot of incentives being run, but in cycling less. And so I just wanted a way that, people who, especially in South Australia, where we've been really deeply affected by the algae bloom, and we saw stages of the Tour Down Under literally changed. Our race is just actually genuinely being threatened by climate change and bushfires and all of the natural disasters that climate change brings. I think a lot of us are feeling really concerned about that, but we want to kind of create the dialogue, but it's like you don't want to be tying yourself to trees and disrupting the race and screaming and shouting. It's just like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
worried, but like I need to bring about my concern in a safe environment, and that's why I wanted to make the like cool down. So we did a little bit of a play on words. So we had like some cool down. It was the last day of the race. Everyone's tired. Everyone just wants to chill. So we made it a really chill ride. Had Rico baths, ice baths, like sort of recovery theme style. And it was just a really nice way for people to all come together and like kind of quietly put their hand up, like, yes, I'm worried about this and I care. And it was a good opportunity for front runners then to also be able to hand out their flyers and give people the statistics and link them to other ways they can go on and help. And so it ended up being completely like really positive in that front. It was really productive.
Yeah. No, you did fantastic, and I know it's not easy to put your name to some of those causes at times. It goes against the grain and the beast of the commercial world of the events. But Maeve, it's only February, and I think we've seen there's been races in Spain. The Warny had to be moved. Races in Spain have been cancelled, and obviously, stages, and we haven't even really started into the depths of the European summer and
Yeah.
winter here. So yeah, I think it's only going to keep happening to the point that I wouldn't be surprised they have to move Grand Tour dates, or flip the where
Crazy.
the Giro or the Vuelta are. But it's just becoming inhabitable to be running the events. But Maeve, last one, it is the Warny this weekend. Any tips for anyone doing it, who are taking it on for the 160k this weekend?
Oh, probably because it nearly cost me my Warny is be towards the front at that crosswind section where the like echelons will form. You know the section because it's where we got in the break. I needed to ride into the echelon at that point because I was not prepared. I think, yeah, get in the break there because if it goes there, it will stay. And also don't lead out
Yep.
someone in that last kick. Yeah.
Preferably don't lead out the top sprinter into that last bit. Just on the last note, Maeve, mate, are you happy? Like, are you enjoying cycling again, coming back from Europe and just, some of the challenges that you had faced in cycling? Are you happy again doing the sport?
Absolutely. Like, I think I never lost the joy for cycling. Like, that was always there. In fact, it almost cost me because I never just even took a week off of it, Like, I would just like even if things were really hard, then I would just cycle more. And then last year I just had so many like my body burnt out because I was overtraining. Like, I was almost trying to out discipline it, Like, I was like wanted it so bad that I was almost trying to outdo it. I got burnt out. I got hit by a bloody truck in Italy. That wasn't very good. My team folded, went through financial troubles with lawsuits and whatnot, and it was just such a hard year. But I think now I'm finally in a place where it's like I have everything I need around me. I have the support. My health is better because I just slowed down a bit, and now I can actually like hit it hard. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good to hear, Maeve. I know we want to get you back to where you were. I'm excited for you on the track. I hope you come back to the road though, because you really were one of the best sprinters for Australia that we produce. And you just got to remind everyone, you're still only 26, I think, and many riders only entered the World Tour at your age, and so as you say, you sort of flipped the progression. You went to the top to come back down to hopefully get back there. So just really willing you on, and it's so good to see you happy again and enjoying the sport.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And I hope to do this a good more decade or so they're not going to get rid of me for a while.
Yeah, good. Before we say goodbye, I have to do a big shout out to the Hanging Rock women's race that Hawthorn Cycling are running this weekend. It's a women's only. It's a handicap. There's hardly any handicaps around anymore, and that's how so many people cut their teeth back in the day. It's 65 Ks. This is a brilliant way to learn how to race, to work together. So jump on to Entry Boss or Hawthorn Cycling. It's this weekend, and they've got record numbers. They've got cash prizes, and really good vibes down there. Super supportive. So if you're not doing the Warny and you're a female, get down to that. Maeve, massive thank you for joining, and we will no doubt see you soon. Good luck at the World Cup.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and of course the coming gays. We'll chat before then. Big thank you to everyone listening. We will chat to you soon. Bye for now.
The Domestics by Black Sheep Cycling.